All right, let's get started. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I have a really exciting community call today where we'll cover a few features from last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks have been really busy for us. We had a bunch of work that was done over the last couple of months, and we finally managed to test a lot of them out, and they're all going live this week as well as over the next couple of weeks. And I'm also going to talk a bit about some of our upcoming features. And then finally, we'll have a show and tell from one of our community members, Nick, who's going to show us a really exciting app that he's built at work. Welcome, Nick, and welcome everyone who's joined us today. So first, let's talk a bit about some of our new updates. One, we now have page settings, so you can now reorder pages as well as control visibility of the page from the page settings. This was a missing feature in Appsmith where you had a bunch of pages on the navigation menu, but you couldn't actually control their order. We finally managed to launch this setting, so you can now reorder all your pages and control the setting. I'm going to go through some of these features and then I'm going to switch and show you a demo of how to actually use these features. The next one, in our Omnibar, we now have a section called JS Snippets. So you can find repeat use JS snippets that you might be using commonly, and sometimes you might forget what the syntax is. So we now have them available right in the Omnibar. You can trigger this by typing Command J or Control J, and you'll be able to then search through a bunch of JS snippets. Right now, these JS snippets have been added by the Appsmith team, but soon we will let other people add JS snippets and contribute so that we have a long collection of JS snippets that anybody can use. I think this is especially useful for some of our users who might be programming in Python, Java, or other languages and who are not really that comfortable in JS. So I'm really excited to bring this. Again, I'm going to show you how to use this in a few minutes. The next one is now you can control color and styling of all buttons. In the past, we only had a few options for styling of buttons. You couldn't really change their color. They were all green or they could be like an outline button. Now you can change the color as well as the styling of these buttons. You can really choose any color. Either you can type out a color or you can use a hex code to type the exact brand color that you need. And you can also choose from a filled button or an outline button. And this means like all our applications will now look just a lot better, and they will begin to look a lot similar to what you're probably used to building outside of Appsmith. So really happy to have brought this live. Then the next one, we now let you group elements into a single container. You can just select a bunch of items, and then you're going to see an icon here, which is that of a container. You can then click this to just group these elements into a container. Or you can press Command G or Control G to just group a bunch of items into a single container. This is really good when you don't want to move items around and create space on your page, because now you can just put them all in a single container and move them around. So this is again like really useful. I'm going to now switch my screen and actually show you a demo of how to use some of these features. So let me find my application now. Okay, I found the page. Let's go here. The first thing, page settings, you can access it by clicking the gear icon beside pages, and you click this and then you land up on these page settings. You can then just reorder these pages however you want. You can also turn pages invisible. So you can just turn them invisible and they won't appear to your user anymore. Soon we'll also let you control this using JS. So you can control who sees these pages. This is just going to give you more flexibility around what kind of users actually get to see your pages. So that's going to be useful. And then you'll be able to like rename pages as well as like access the page link from right here, as well as like you can create pages as well. Simple feature, much needed when you're building on Appsmith. So I'm really happy to have brought this out. The next one is really all about button colors. So let's take a button here. So if you scroll down in the property pane, you're going to see a bunch of styles here. You can either choose a style. This chooses from a predefined set of colors. They have been defined by us, but you can also click on custom. And when you click on custom, you can actually go ahead and change the button color to anything that you would want. The cool thing here is, to ensure a good contrast ratio between the text and the color, we actually choose the color of the font automatically for you. So if I choose a lighter color, like let's say yellow, okay, yellow is still this, let's go black rather. You're gonna see the text change to white. So you don't need to worry about contrast ratio of your font. Because we automatically choose it, it's almost always gonna be readable. So this is really cool. You can also change the button variant. You can change it to an outline button, which looks like this, or you can change it to a ghost button, which just looks like a text box here. So this means that you just have such variety in the kind of buttons that you can create. You also now have things like box shadow, and you can control the border radius of a button. So which means you can now have like curved corners on a button. The default Appsmith theme is generally just no corner radius at all, but this is obviously not for everybody's taste. And I'm happy that you can now control the corner radius right here. Now, while I'm here, let me also show you how to use the JS snippets. So I hit Command J, and I can choose any of these snippets here. Let me find a navigate to snippet. Yeah. So I'm going to just copy this snippet. Now I can either copy this, or I can actually customize this. I can just paste the URL that I want. So, this will just like create the URL that I need. This is really useful when you're doing something more complicated. There are a bunch of JS snippets, like let's say, like a map function, or using a chart query, charting data from a query. Some of these things are a little more complicated. This is where you can actually use the customize function to create your query right here, and then just click to copy this. So I just copied that navigate to, and I can just add it to this particular button. So I can go to onClick, click on JS, and then I can just paste this here. And this should then onClick open google.com. Let's just test that. Yeah, and it does that. So this is a cool little feature. And I'm hoping once we open up JS snippets for contribution to everybody, it'll be just great to see all of you just add your JS snippets, so that it just makes life easy for everybody out here. Thanks, Joseph. Glad you like this. The other little thing that we've done, this is a really small thing, but you might have already seen this, but in every single JS field, you can now see the expected structure and the example of the expected structure. Let's take a more complicated widget. Let's take the table widget. So here I can actually see the example of the expected structure. This needs to be an array. And I can also see that this is supposed to be an array right here. Just a little more detail here so that you can understand what you need to add here. So this is a tiny little touch that we've given here. The other one is combining widgets into a container. So here I can just select a bunch of these widgets and then click this, and this just combines everything into a container. So now I can just move everything around, and it just like helps you reorganize things in a much nicer way. So these were some of our major updates. Some of our other updates are around widgets itself. We have a new widget, which is the checkbox widget. This is great for just building a form, adding a bunch of checkboxes. So I can just add as many options as I need here. So this is just so yeah. So the checkbox group widget is a new update to after our checkbox widget. So this is really good. And then we have another widget, which is the audio recorder widget. We got a request for it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm super happy that this is again live. This is useful if you this is useful for certain kind of applications, especially when you need to record something on your mobile apps. And I believe the user who asked for it wanted to use it in a mobile app. So I'm happy that we could actually build this. So you can just click allow, and then this is just going to start recording this. You can then store this file and upload it to your S3 or any other database that you're using. Simple widget that serves a really particular use case. Then we have a third widget. Like I said, we have a lot of updates over the last couple of weeks. So it's quite a few here. The third widget is a stat box widget. This is especially useful when you're creating dashboards. This is one of our first compound widgets, where this is a collection of bunch of different widgets. And so you can use this to just show a single data point and use the icon button to actually show a direction, right? Like either up, down, or maybe something else that you might want to show. So this is useful for all sorts of BI and dashboarding needs. This is a simple widget, but quite useful right here. So these are some of the widgets and some of our updates that went live this week and the last week. So do take a look at these and let us know what you think about it. The next thing I want to talk about is I want to talk a bit about some of our new upcoming features where we would appreciate any help that you can give us in testing these features out. The first feature is undo redo. We have a deploy preview of our undo redo, which is out on our Discord. So please join our Discord if you're not on it. That's where we generally share a lot of deploy previews. Take a look at our undo redo, and we would love any feedback around that feature. Today in Appsmith, you can delete and you can undo, but it only gives you a few seconds to undo it. So we would love any help right there. Thanks, David. Yeah, and David, granular permissions for pages and for applications, that's something we'll be working on in October. So we'll actually go live with it. Great question. What is JS objects here? This is something we are just testing internally. This is behind a feature flag right now. This is only available to appsmith.com email IDs. So what you can do to try out this feature is, I'm just going to paste this login right here. You can use this to log into Appsmith and then try out the JS objects feature. This is not fully ready, a lot of bugs, but basically this is the much needed, much wanted JS editor that we've introduced so that you can reuse your code, so that you can run JS on the server, you can run JS on a page load and do all of those things that you're used to doing with JS. We're also working on async, await, and promise functions. Those are some of the things that are work in progress. So if you want, you should check this out. But mind you, this is still very, very far away from launch. This is probably going to take us another 2 weeks before we are confident that this works really well. In the meantime, you can just use the login that I pasted in the Zoom chat here and try this out for yourself. And let us know any feedback that you have about this one. Associated with this, there's another tiny feature that I just want to talk about, which is the linting feature. That's another feature that we are working on. This is gonna this is actually just going to help you identify errors right in the JavaScript code that you've written. This is again a little bit of a work in progress product, but an early preview is out in the latest update that we have here. So here, this particular table is talking to get all products.data, but get all products is not a defined data source here, and that's the reason it's showing this tiny little squiggly underline here. So this is going to just help you identify it. The other thing that we've done in the debugger is you can now either copy the error message so that you can, ping it to us on intercom or on Discord, or you can actually search through a JS snippet, or you can just Google for it. So we have a few more options right here that you can use to debug. Again, a small little nifty feature that hopefully will help you get unblocked on Appsmith a lot quicker. Yeah. So these are all the upcoming features that I have for you. And if you want to get access to some of these early features, please do join our Discord, where we will keep sharing some of our deploy previews right there. Moving on to the next one. Yeah, you're right, David. The live debugging is something that we are focusing on quite a bit to improve that. With the JS editor, we've introduced linting, and there'll be a bunch of other things that will come about so that you just get unblocked really quickly. Especially today, I know sometimes you miss like a semicolon somewhere, and then you spend like 20 minutes trying to figure out where did it go wrong. This is where I know linting is going to be a lifesaver. So really excited to go live with this. Now, next we have a community member, Nick Smith. His Discord name is Nixus. You might have seen him on our Discord quite a few times. He's going to be presenting and showing us a demo of an application that he's built. It's a Kanban board that he's built using Appsmith. And he's a graduate of Georgia Tech, and most recently he's been working for a truck fleet repair and service company. And he's been working on internal tools for that company and helping them move off some of their legacy software. So now I'm going to just stop screen sharing, and I'm going to let Nick take over.
Thank you very much, Abhishek. Howdy, everyone. Can y'all hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. Let's pick the correct screen. Here we are. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a simple Kanban board with comments and attachments, and I built in a role-based or user-based filter so that I can assign tasks to users. So what we have here is the list of authorized users for the application, and I'm using Supabase as a backend at the moment. So we can add a new user to that applicant and then create a task for them. So we'll just create a task, and we can add it to multiple users if we'd like. We'll just do one for now. And we have roles as well. If a technician or a manager wants to assign a task roles, or the business unit itself. We're working on getting recur tasks, haven't gotten the structure to allow them to enter the definition of how often it recurs. Set a due date here, and time and hours, which we could do fractions or decimals, and then we'll confirm that. All right. And so we've just got a simple list of the tasks right now for an admin to see. They can filter based on whatever they need to drill into, and We also have, let's close this. We also have workflows where a manager can define a series of tasks and reorder, reorder that task so that they, and this is still in development apparently. I haven't tried to reorder them in a little while. But when you click the up or down button, it would reorder the task and assign these in the order that they need to for the use. We're still working on adding a backend to get the ordering correct. That's going to require some either the JS editor or some server-side code. But all this is just going to Supabase Appsmith right now. And a user of the application logs in, and they'll see the tasks that they have open in a to-do board or a Kanban board, and they can edit that task. There are attachments. Still working on adding attachments here. I've got that in the admin side. Let's create a comment. Save that. And there's the demo comment that I just added. Let's close this. So then users working on it, they move it to in progress, and then they can move that to done, or they can move it back around, depending on what they need to do. And we can also look at tasks that are unassigned but are available for my business unit in my role and assign them to myself if I would like to do that. Let's see, I think all the tasks we've got right now are assigned. I can edit the dates for just a moment. That's easy. Let's see, there's the Supabase. That's all right. Where did Supabase go? My Windows moved right. Excuse me.
Nick has a lot of monitors.
That's all right. yes, I do. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I think it's hiding behind Zoom. That's what Zoom is staying on top of it. Okay. So let's see, we've got tasks now. Here, move Supabase over here so we can see what let's refresh this. So let's take up this assignment. So it's not assigned to anyone. And refresh the page. So we can see the user has no tasks assigned to them right now. Let's assign that to me. And that was already completed, but it's now in my done queue, I should say. And we're building this application right now because there are many legacy systems that they have go to this UI, go to it, log into this application, punch in this data, and it's just creates a terrible user experience. It slows down work, and it's just error prone, and you have your business and your business process in many different systems, and you can't get a holistic view of it. And so we've gone through vendors and worked with to get their API access, and we're using Appsmith to make the UI is simple and easy, because this is a developer that they've been trying to digitally transform for about a year now, and they're going through systems and trying different things, and we found that Appsmith is flexible and is just makes the developer's life so much easier with quickly changing user requirements. It's really what can I say? I love Appsmith. It's been a great find. I dreamed of creating a system like this myself, and I'm so happy that it's already here. This is awesome. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Glad you like this. And I think we need to introduce a Kanban widget soon. It's probably going to be really easy for you to build this app. That now we have a good reason to work on this. So thank you for showing this.
Thank you.
So what were you, this company that you're working for, what were they using before to build, before you actually started using Appsmith?
They had tried to use just different CRM systems. They tried doing their own code base once. Initially, that's where we started as well, but we just decided with the team size that we have and the requirements that we have, it's not feasible just to try and do a whole new project greenfield. But they're now just using traditional, for their industry, the traditional ERP and CRM tools, and parts management. There's a lot of specialized data in the automotive field that thankfully they've finally gotten to expose through APIs rather than in their own applications.
Mm-hmm.
And so really we were tied into their applications until we found Appsmith, and that enabled us to start working with their APIs at the pace that was reasonable, because I think we're a 6-man team, but really there's 3 people in the full time. Mm-hmm. So we don't have a lot of bandwidth to just spend time coding, and Appsmith has made things so much easier, so much faster.
Nice. That's really great to hear. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Nick.
Absolutely. Let's see. So stop share here. There it is.
And David has a suggestion for you. He's saying you should use N8N as the backend. I don't know if you've tried that. We keep using that a lot. We really love N8N and Supabase.
That is definitely something we've looked into. Depending on what the business application is, we're looking at N8N. We're also looking at Cogito and integrating with the Java backends there. So that's the decision we're making right now, depending on what the business requirements are for each specific feature.
Nice. That sounds great. Thank you, Nick. And thank you everyone who's joined us today. I'm open to taking a few questions. So if you have any questions, or if you would like to talk about anything that we've not addressed today or on Discord, I'm happy to take any questions. I also have Arpit here, who's our CTO. He's also on the call, and a couple of our other engineers are also on the call. So if you have any questions, we are just going to wait a few minutes for that.
If I may, I have experienced an odd bug that I'm unsure of at the moment. I'm not sure if now is the time to bring it up.
Oh, please, absolutely. No worries at all. We can try helping you out right now.
I've noticed when I created a modal, it was nested deep in the widget structure. And that seems to be the only difference in behavior that creates the bug that I'm noticing. I'm trying to add a tab widget inside modal, but it's not allowing me. It's saying that tab widgets are not allowed inside of lists. But the only thing I can assume is because this modal is nested deep in the widget structure, it's looking up into the parents and seeing a list, when really the list has nothing to do with this modal. And I can't move the modal out of that widget structure, I guess, unless I delete it.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you mind sharing your screen real quick?
Happy to.
So that we can just take a look at it.
Absolutely. So, okay. So here is the to-do task modal with a tab in it. I was able to add that, and we can see the to-do task modal is at the top of the widget hierarchy and on the side here. But if I open the in progress task modal, we see it's nested inside of a list. And then I go to the widgets, add a tab. tab widgets cannot be used inside the list widget.
Okay, got it. Could you show the tree again on the left? Just want to take a look at it. So it's in a container. That's the... Okay, got it.
I think it was created there because I copied this widget. I duplicated the edit because it needed slightly different data. So when I pasted it, it was pasted into the widget tree here rather than at the top.
Yeah.
Root.
Yeah, that sounds like it. We'll try to replicate this and fix this. We're also working on revamping our copy paste experience. But I mean, right now we're just designing the experience. So we'll probably work on a much better copy paste experience in, I think, like 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay. Awesome.
Arpit has a point here. Okay. Yeah, Arpit is also saying that it's definitely a bug. I think, yeah, this is enough for us to replicate it. So we're going to just replicate it and try to fix this over the next few days.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for posting this. Thanks. Folks, if we have no other questions, then we'll just end the call in another 30 seconds, let's say. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions. So thank you so much, Nick. Thanks everyone who's joined us today. And we'll see you next week. We have a bunch of more updates going out tomorrow and over the next couple of days. So we'll have new updates. And next week, I'm also going to be speaking more about some of our features that are being designed right now. So I'll have a few design previews that I'll be showing next week. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. See you. Bye.